Welcome back to Africa 54. As we remember former South African President Nelson Mandela, Africa 54's Ndimyake Mwakalyelye joins us now to tell us more about the anti-apartheid movement in America. Ndimi.
Well, thank you, Vincent. The fight to end apartheid in South Africa and pressure authorities there to release Nelson Mandela and other political prisoners has deep roots here in the United States. Many Americans, students, civil rights activists, and politicians protested outside the South African embassy and pushed for sanctions on the South African government to pressure it to end the oppressive practice and release Mandela. One of the groups involved was the Free South Africa movement, which started in the 80s. Cecelie Counts was the coordinator of Trans-Africa Forum at the time, one of the groups in the movement. She joins us now via Skype with reflections. And I have to say thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Counts.
Sure, happy to be with you.
What are your thoughts today as the world mourns the passing of Mandela?
Well, I think that, like many activists, we think about the periods in our life when we struggled in local communities to bring knowledge of the situation in South Africa to everyday people in the United States. And it's really overwhelming to see how far people have come, to see that there is now a global consensus around the legacy of Nelson Mandela. It is almost indescribable given where we started. And we started after decades and decades of organizing to educate the public in the United States about the horrors of apartheid and about the ways in which multinational corporations and our own government were on the wrong side.
Tell me how difficult it was. I mean, you know, now everybody knows about apartheid and Nelson Mandela and the other prisoners, Oliver Tambo, etc. But at the time, was it an easy sell?
No, it was not. Although I must say that the South African government's oppression, which made the nightly news, brought clarity to the situation. Up until that time, back in the days, say, of the Sharpeville massacre, and even with the Soweto uprising in the 1960s and 70s, the media did not pay much attention to the situation in Southern Africa. And so it was up to activists to bring individual South Africans to churches, to community groups, to bring photographs, and to really inform people about the ways in which, again, our own government and multinational corporations were actively playing a role in the apartheid system.
Now, the highlight of all your efforts was, of course, in 1990, when you actually managed to bring Mr. Mandela, or part of the groups of people who brought Mr. Mandela to America, and you actually facilitated some tours for him around the country. Is that correct? And you got to meet him then?
Yes, that was pretty amazing because he'd just gotten out of prison. He was not an elected leader. And we, the activist community, had no access to government resources. And we had to figure out a way to transport now President Mandela, but to transport that first delegation around the country and to secure the venues, the large stadiums, the convention centers that could accommodate the massive crowds that wanted to actually see and hear him.
And very briefly, before you go, how do you feel about the fact that you have 4 presidents, of course, 3 former and current President Barack Obama in South Africa, as we speak, paying homage to Mr. Mandela?
It's incredible. It means that we won. We were victorious. To hear the President of the United States say that he began his political career as a student in the anti-apartheid movement makes us feel victorious. Although we have a large struggle ahead of us trying to decrease inequality in this country and around the world, we've come a long, long way. I don't think any of us could have imagined that we'd see a day like today.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Counts, for joining us today and sharing with us your thoughts and just basically your actions to help everything that happened today come about.
Well, thank you. And again, I just want to thank you for recognizing the importance of struggle. I think this has given us all new energy to keep fighting for the rights of all people, because sometimes we do win.
We do win. All right. Cecelie Counts was at the time coordinator of Trans-Africa Forum, which was a member of the Free South Africa movement. And she joined us via Skype here in studio.